we fell into it. I mean, we were best friends. And we were both very entrepreneurial, and we started cooking in the kitchen and realizing that we would be a great team. What he lacks, I make up for, and vice versa.
Cole and Brian, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm super excited to talk about all you're building with Smackin. First, before we get into all the details, give me a little 30-second intro to who you are and how you guys know each other.
Well, Brian, I'm Cole. We met as random freshman roommates at the University of Minnesota back in 2017. So like 8 years ago almost.
Yeah. And then been best friends ever since.
Why did you guys decide to go into business together?
I mean, it's been quite the journey, to say the least. Both of us grew up on the little league field, munching sunflower seeds, and we came to college and we were very entrepreneurial. We knew we wanted to start a business. We started a couple of businesses together, and those didn't pan out. And so we started looking at, what needed innovation and what did we know best, and we looked at the sunflower seed market and I thought that was a great opportunity. So sophomore year, we started cooking in our college apartment, and step by step, now we're here.
What were those other businesses, I guess, you guys started? What other ventures did you try to embark on?
I mean, just really small stuff. Well, I mean, it was big picture stuff. It was like a software that we had no idea how to build it. So like Brian said, we tried to come down to what's a simple problem in our life that we've experienced that we know we could solve. And we knew how to relatively make sunflower seeds. So that's how we got to this spot.
So you guys obviously have a connection to baseball and to sunflower seeds in that way. Walk me through a little bit of that journey of you guys growing up and realizing that this is, a product that you probably ate a lot as a child, and then kind of turning that into something in your adult life. What are some of your personal connections to sunflower seeds and the sport of baseball?
I mean, we grew up on the Little League field, and we saw those the same flavors, the same salty product, and the same brands, and we knew there could be something better.
Yeah, it was small seeds that would cut open your mouth, kind of give you what's called salty burn. And we both kind of stopped eating sunflower seeds as we got older, just because we got sick of the product. But it was something we loved as kids, and we knew there was desire for better, obviously because we both felt that way. So it was really just kind of leaning on past experiences of that, enjoying our time in Little League, enjoying our time eating the seeds, and eventually we fell out of the seed part. So
what was the first phase of Smackin? Was it just, a bag that you made in the kitchen? Was there any flavor involved? How did you guys make that very first step into building a product?
I mean, we just tried it out at first. So we basically bought just plain sunflower seeds and put a bunch of flavoring that we got on it, and then tumbled it, put it in some little Ziploc baggies and passed them out to everyone on the floor and got some feedback. And that summer we put in our first packaging order and, kind of put together a little supply chain and entered into production in our college apartment. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Did you guys have food experience prior to this? Were either of you chefs or cooks in any way?
No experience.
I worked in a restaurant, but I was not a cook. I was a server. So nothing touching the food before.
And what made you guys want to build a business on this? I mean, it's one thing to, have a product that you want to make, something that you want to share with the friends on your floor in, your college dorm, but to go from that and just sharing it with some friends to building an enterprise out of it, what was that mindset that showed you guys this is something we can actually focus on full time?
I mean, we both believed in ourselves and us as a team, and we knew we wanted to do something together. So we just kind of took it simple, took it slow. Like you said, start out passing out to people, slowly upgraded to local farmers markets, softball tournaments, Little League fields. We got into our first store, started selling online, making videos, and it just kind of snowballed. It just got bigger and bigger. And, it was always the goal and always the hope was we wanted to build a big business that we could work on full time together. It was not overnight though at all. It just took a lot of compounding of hard work, trial and error. But
whose responsibility is whose? What's the division of labor between the two of you and the rest of the team?
I mean, at the beginning, we did everything together. Everything from production to fulfillment to marketing and sales, finance. We did everything together. But as the business grew and we had to start dividing hats and building the team. Cole specialized in the marketing, and then I took the sales, finance, and we could share ops.
Okay, cool. And what was your previous experience that made those two kind of divisions of labor make sense for you guys?
I would even say it was based off of previous experience. It was just kind of what we were passionate about and what we were talented at. Brian's degree was in finance, so he had an understanding of finance way better than I did. My degree was in marketing. And it was just kind of the roles that we fell into that we felt most comfortable with and were stronger at. It's what I lack in, Brian is very, very good at, and kind of vice versa. And it was really just the perfect partnership of shared responsibilities. And now we have a team of people who are able to help us with the vast majority of the day-to-day stuff, and we can kind of do bigger picture things and what we really want to do now, which is fun.
So you guys were roommates in college and you were, best friends before this venture. How did you decide that the two of you would be good co-founders together? Because that's a very different relationship.
It's very different.
Very different. And you rarely see it work out well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things we fell into it. I mean, we were best friends and we were both very entrepreneurial. And, we started cooking in the kitchen and realizing that we would be a great team. What he lacks, I make up for and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's important that we were friends before because like we had that relationship established where we had mutual trust amongst each other. We knew that we had each other's best interests at heart, and like we're able to kind of step away from the business at times and remember like we're just friends, and like we're doing this because we like love each other, care about each other, we want what's best for each other. So we always keep that in the back of our minds, and it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. How do you navigate if you guys disagree on something?
We just talk it through.
Yeah.
And what do you do to kind of like you said, step back, unwind from the business for a second? Is there anything that you guys will do together? Any hobbies that you have to make sure that you're, spending time outside of this like co-CEO, co-founder space?
Absolutely. I mean, we just hang out as friends like we always used to. So, I mean, we'll grab a beer. We have dogs that will walk together. Both love to work out, play pickleball.
Yeah, like when we travel for work, like we always make time to like go check out what's local, check out like the local food scenery, and just spend time as friends. Because like I said, that's why we did this in the first place.
You mentioned too that you wanted to find something that you could really innovate on. So what does the innovation look like with Smackin? How is it different from what's on the market today?
Right. Well, look at the product. Our product is better for you. So we have lower sodium and then bigger seeds. So a lot of the natural brands have smaller seeds than us. And then we really focus on the bold flavor. Bold, unique flavors is what Smackin's all about.
And what are some of those flavors that you guys now sell?
We got garlic parmesan. Our top seller is cinnamon churro. Just released a churro jalapeno. So we really focus on the unique flavors.
How did you guys land on these flavors? Those are not typical sunflower seed flavors that you just mentioned. So how did you stumble upon this kind of flavor profile?
I mean, we just like request samples of like flavors that we really like, and we just put it on the seeds and see what tastes good. If it tastes good, we'll keep working on the blend, trying to make it better. And if not, we'll just punt it for another day.
Yeah, it's really trial and error. And I mean, we look at the market, we see what's trending, but we also just, at the end of the day, it's what tastes good and what our consumers really want.
Speaking of trends, are there any trends in the food space right now or, the business space in general that you feel like you're really latching onto or trying to, use in your own ways? Or are there trends that you're also like avoiding at all costs?
Absolutely. I mean, there's trends that we avoid. The trends that we're really focused on is social media and the engagement with our consumers. That's really what sets us apart is, our full marketing journey. Great product, but great marketing and a full experience for the consumer.
What does the social media strategy look like for you guys today?
I mean, we're on all platforms. So, like we're on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. We post like short form content, long form content, statics, visuals. It's really just kind of like a combo of it all. And then like Brian said, like once people kind of get comfortable with our videos, comfortable with our content, hopefully they try our product. And within that, we've got a whole ecosphere of like emails, SMS, like VIP groups. And we have like weekly, like limited edition flavor drops to keep people excited, engaged. So it's really just kind of like getting people into the funnel through our marketing, high level marketing. And once they're in, people just love the product and love the brand.
Have you found that certain types of content are either like better at or more efficient at pulling people from just being a follower or a watcher online to a shopper?
I mean, at the end of the day, like the content that we're creating turns people into shoppers because it's most of what we do is just having people try the product. So they get to firsthand see what other people think. And it's an appealing thought, like when you can see like what another consumer thinks of the product.
How much of the consumer engagement or consumer interactions in terms of like what flavors they're suggesting or other questions or, requests that they're making, how does that play into how you're innovating on the product and deciding what's next for the company?
Right. I mean, we really listen to our consumers. So something that sets us apart is we do limited edition flavor drops. So every week we're dropping a limited flavor, sells out really quick, and it's unique. It's red velvet, spicy guac, things that you never have tasted. So that's what really, we use that as a springboard to launch standard flavors. We get consumer feedback, see what we need to change, and then we'll use that to launch a standard flavor.
Yeah, like cheddar jalapeno was a limited edition flavor at a point in time, and we refined it based on the feedback. Like people really liked it, so we were like, okay, like this is a good flavor. And some stuff it's like, not so great, and like then and then it's like something you probably shouldn't work on.
How do you guys kind of walk the line of sticking true to, yourself and the products that you want to create while also listening to customers? Is there ever any give and take in terms of, someone might ask for something and you're like, that's not who we are as a company? Are those conversations ever happening between the two of you?
Yeah, I mean, like we definitely started with like what we liked because like that was just the easiest to go off of. But over time, like, and we're just going based on what our customers like at this point. And like people will suggest some wild things, and like you kind of just try to have to like listen to what everyone's saying and like stick to like what the kind of like the North Star is of like what the like vast majority of people are saying. So it's kind of just like intaking a bunch of information, digesting it, and trying to sparse out like what the popular opinion is.
What is the North Star for Smackin right now?
Bold flavors, delicious snacks.
Okay, cool. A lot of people might think that sunflower seeds are a pretty niche market to get into. Obviously, a lot of people use them, but it's essentially one product. How are you guys attempting to expand on that to ensure that you have a business that's scalable?
I mean, sunflower seeds in itself is pretty scalable. It's like about $1 billion a year industry in America. So
It's growing at 7% each year. So it's one of those industries that no one really like looks at as a big industry, but it really is. And younger consumers are snacking more frequently. So it's a growing market, and it's a market that no one's really tapped.
Totally. How much are you guys valuing direct-to-consumer purchases and those sorts of consumers versus getting into retail stores? Like I know you mentioned starting out with small, local markets and things and now scaling up to larger retailers. What is that kind of mindset that you guys have in terms of where you want to devote your time and energy into sharing these products?
Right. I mean, we really built our business direct to consumer first, and we're bringing that into retail. And so, I mean, the market is 80% retail, so that's where the opportunity is. But we're laser focused on direct to consumer. We want to be the number one brand online, but also in store. So next year, I mean, we'll be rolling out in a lot of national retailers. So the retail pipeline is looking great, but we're not losing focus on the online play.
What's your best advice for companies who want to get into major retailers? Because it is a huge market. Maybe people don't know about you. They see you on the stores of a grocery or on the shelves of a grocery store. That's obviously a huge opportunity for a lot of food and other sorts of consumer products. How do you get your foot in the door in those places?
I mean, that's a hard question. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get your foot in the door. For us, we took our online success and brought it into stores. And so you're talking to retail buyers. They're the ones that are making decisions on what brands are brought into stores for the resets. And so when we're talking to these retail buyers, I mean, it's night and day from what it was last year. So now they want us to bring it into the stores. They see Smackin as a number 3 brand.
What made that difference that they are now more interested?
We're just bigger and better. Like we're all over the place at this point. And I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Like if you look at us from just like a purely numbers standpoint, we're pretty much like Brent said, the 3rd biggest brand in America. So, and we did that all through direct to consumer.
Yeah.
So like that is like proof in itself where like they're confident that like you're selling online, you have repeat customers, people who care about your brand, your product. Like that's what I would recommend to someone who's looking to get into retail is don't start with retail, quite frankly.
Yeah. What about for young founders in general? What are some pieces of advice that you have to, try and get your product to be something like a number 3 brand in the country, in the world? What are some of those pieces of advice that you have for startups right now?
I mean, believe in yourself, create a vision, have a mission of like what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to do, differentiate yourself, and like stick to what's working, like test a bunch of different things and really believe in yourself. And like also like understand when maybe you're not onto the right thing and be willing to pivot and move on to what's next.
Have there been any major pivots that you guys have had to make?
Quite a few, quite a few. I mean, we launched in COVID, and so we were looking at retailers launching in retail. But the COVID happened, and a lot of retailers pulled out, and that was a big pivot where we had to shift focus to online and finding some traction there. And then manufacturing, I mean, that's just been a hurdle in itself. So, I mean, we used to use a co-packer. We had to pivot from there, and now we're vertically integrated. So there's been a lot of failures along the way.
What does the kind of supply chain look like now that you are vertically integrated? What have you guys decided on as the most efficient way to be creating these products? What does that process look like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we have a various list of suppliers for each of our different raw goods. Just kind of always tapping into the different ones, and we manufacture it at our factory, fulfill it there, and ship it out to our various customers across the country.
What's a day-to-day in your guys' life look like? Are you at the factory? Are you creating social media content? What's it like for you guys?
It's different every day. We just brought all our employees into the office. We got a great headquarters here in Minneapolis. So day to day, you'll find Cole and I there. What we're working on, I mean, just changes, depending on what the focus is that month and what we got going on.
Basically just firefighting all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What do you see as the biggest challenges that you guys have had to overcome?
I mean, one is we bootstrap this business. So, I mean, most CPG, you have to spend a lot of money to get to certain places. We kept it really lean. I mean, we took risks, but they were calculated risks. And, we made sure never to bet the farm. We looked, at each incremental step to get there. So I think that's definitely number one.
What about the biggest opportunities that you guys see?
retail at this point. Like Brian said earlier, 80% of the market's in retail. And we're 95% direct to consumer at this point.
Yeah.
So that's a huge, huge opportunity for us. And past that, we see Smackin as a much bigger company than just sunflower seeds. Eventually we want to expand our portfolio to other products, other brands. So just a lot of, forward progress hopefully from here, but this is just the start.
What do you guys see in terms of the future of the food space, of the snack space? What are some predictions that you guys have within the next couple of years?
Right. You'll definitely see more CPG companies focusing on the online play. Social media is huge. You're seeing that with Feastables, Joyride. A lot of other brands are having success. Prime, exactly. So I think that's definitely a trend that you'll keep seeing. Certainly the better for you, is something that will keep going on. That's not how we see our brand, but that's definitely a trend that will keep going.
And then what about for your brand specifically? What are you tapping into to make sure that you have longevity in this space?
I mean, just product is king at the end of the day if you're focused on longevity. So we're always making sure that we have the best product possible. And then at the end of the day, we just want to stay at the top of our customers' minds. So we do that through our marketing efforts. And so, if they're done with a bag and maybe they haven't bought it for a month, they'll come across a video online and be like, oh yeah, I need to restock on Smackin.
How are you focused on retention right now? Like you said, bringing people back after a couple of months. What does that kind of process look like from your end to ensure that people are not just buying once, but repeat buyers?
I mean, we hit them from all angles, We've got the social media on lockdown. We have email, SMS marketing. And like I said earlier, we do a lot of these limited edition flavor drops, which just keeps people really excited, wanting to try what's new. So I think that's a really big unlock in food is if you can do basically limited runs of specific flavors that people just want to try that's new, brings them back, they'll restock on your normal flavors and try the new stuff. So that's been pretty big for us as well, I'd say.
Yeah. What impact are you guys hoping to make with this company?
Well, we want to be the PepsiCo of Gen Z. So, our mission is to create memorable experiences, do that through the videos and content that we create, and also through the products that people can consume and share with their friends and family. So we just want to leave a large impact on our generation through food.
How do you think Gen Z's shopping habits, Gen Z values, the things that Gen Z is interested in, how is that impacting how you run the company day to day?
I mean, Gen Zs are certainly focused on social media. Most will purchase a new product once they see it on social media. So that's a huge play. I mean, Gen Z also is healthier, so they're more health conscious, and so we've definitely brought that into our products.
They also appreciate authenticity.
Yeah.
So a lot of these legacy companies that exist in all industries, not just food, but it's very corporatized. It's not very authentic. They don't feel like there's someone they can connect with.
Right.
And that's something that we really pride ourselves in is that we're authentic. We show who's who's within the organization, who's making the food. So I think that's something that people really appreciate in our generation as well.
Being Gen Z founders yourself, being in this under 30 cohort, obviously being a young founder is a challenge in and of itself, but there are tons of opportunities, I think, too, as being a new face in these industries. Where do you see your position as founders, knowing that you're kind of in this, under 30 and young crowd? How do you, stand up against these larger conglomerates or these legacy companies?
I mean, these legacy companies are taking notes from startups like us. So I mean, it's really just focusing on staying true to ourselves, and over time, you become big, being focused on that.
Yeah. Well, thank you both so much for joining us. It was great to hear more about Smackin and all that you guys are building.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex.